Hey, it's time for another dad story. This is another elementary school Pershing story. Um, this is about Mr. Lee. So I don't know for certain if it's still the case, but back in the day, back in the 70s, you wouldn't get a male teacher until the fifth grade. So Mr. Lee was my fifth grade teacher. And so he was a very proper, uh, proper black man with who had a lot of authority with him. Like he was very much in charge, and he had a threat of if you were misbehaving, that he would ask you what your favorite ice cream is, and he'd say mine's black cherry walnut. And so if you came up with a long, rocky road or something like that, he would whip you for every letter in the ice cream title you gave. So I never saw it happen. I'm sure it never did, but that is how he would scare us very badly. So I got two Mr. Lee stories real quick. The first one is, I think I was actually a third grader, maybe a fourth grader. And my father went to a PTO meeting, and I came along with him. And it was very boring, as you can imagine. And it was held in the gymnasium. So as my father was dutifully doodling, trying to stay awake during this thing after a long day of work, I went and explored. And off the gymnasium, there was a little room where there was sports equipment. And one of the pieces of equipment was uneven bars. Not like they did gymnastics in our school. That must have been from much older. Like, we did use a trampoline once, and I'm pretty sure they don't teach that in elementary school anymore. And we used to climb ropes too. At any rate, uneven bars. And I had just learned how to do like a flip over a bar. If you hook your knee and you lean forward and you get enough momentum, you could whip all the way around. And I had just learned how to do that on the monkey bars on the playground. And I measured the height from that bar to that bar. And I measured my head to my waist. And I thought, I could do that. So I climbed up on top of it, wrapped my leg around it, and hit the bar with my head. And you can still see that scar today. And just, exploded with blood all over the place. And it was Mr. Lee who ended up carrying me to my dad's, to the van, to the Volkswagen bus. And I'm pretty sure we got a lot of blood on his suit. So, this very, very proper, somewhat intimidating authority figure sure made sure he took care of the students. So that was before I was his student. And then when I was his student, he's the one that kind of gently pointed out that I have a learning disability, that I have dyslexia. Because we were reading, sitting at the table, and we would each take turns reading. And I remember specifically the word was dropped, as in the boy dropped his bag. And I kept saying it as propped. And he would say, read that again. Look at that again. What does it say? And I couldn't get it. All I ever saw was propped. And I imagine he spoke to my parents about that afterwards. But Mr. Lee was a great, great man. Every year they would take fifth graders, they would charter a bus, and they would drive from St. Louis to Washington, D.C. to commemorate Martin Luther King's speech at the Washington Monument, because that is where he and a couple of other teachers at our school participated in that March on Washington. So I'm sure he's moved on from this land, but Mr. Lee was a great man. I hope you have teachers like that, or other people in your life like that.